The clock is now running on the Playbook podcast, the podcast where you take a deeper dive into the game of business, leadership, teamwork, character, the things that drive your motivation and build dedication. When you get a good look at the game plan of great business leaders, you start to formulate your own playbook and your own rise to the top. Make your next play your best play. And now, here are today's game captains, Glenn Amaral and Andy Phillips. Let's go!
Welcome back to the Playbook podcast. I'm Andy Phillips. Joining me, as always, is my host, Glenn Amaral. Glenn, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Andy. How's it going?
I'm doing awesome. We have an ace in the hole today for our guest. I'm going to let you bring him in.
All right. Today we have Jack Crowley Jr., owner of C&J Automotive Specialists, who has 4 locations in our area. And his tagline is, "Our family puts your family first." Jack, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well.
All right. Well, basically the way this works, Jack, is we have a first half and a second half, and we have a little fun at halftime. So I'm going to kick this off with, the first question here that we have for you. And my question is, as an owner of a business, and this is a question that's come up a lot, is it more important to be an expert at your craft? So in other words, can you fix my car? Or is it more important to be to understand the business and get the right people in place to make your business run smoothly?
Awesome, Glenn. I'm actually glad you asked that. I would say that I'm kind of proof that number 2 is definitely a positive. I don't actually work on cars. I grew up in the business. My dad kind of pushed for the education side, and that's what I ended up pursuing. And once I understood the business, the way it worked, it gave me the ability to hire people that were significantly better than me at the tasks that I don't necessarily perform the best. So I would say my actual job is finding the best people to do the job. That's kind of where I stand with it, at least.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's definitely a question, because I've seen a lot of people that are so good at what they do, but they could run a business right into the ground. So it's really an interesting concept and a great answer.
And on that, hiring the correct people, everyone I've talked to, not everyone, but a lot of people I've talked to, especially since the pandemic, are having such a hard time finding quality people to hire in the trades, especially, or anything really blue collar, to be honest with you. Are you having issues, A, finding quality people to hire, and B, how do you go about that? Do you find your job to be harder in maybe your managers and your GMs and anyone who's teaching employees? Do you find that it's harder, A, and B, that you have to put even more of an emphasis on getting people to work the way you guys want your people to work and how you want them to reflect your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think any small business owner would agree that the struggle of finding good people is probably our biggest uphill battle, but we've been really fortunate. We have an awesome team here, and we've made a lot of changes that the industry doesn't necessarily do. Like, there's no commission structures in our company. Everybody gets paid salary. So a lot of awesome technicians and, great administrative staff, service advisors have heard about it, and they're starting to come to us. We used to have to do a lot more job postings, and we wouldn't find the best fit candidates. We have a pretty onerous hiring process. So having the opportunity to meet people that are employed elsewhere, that have a good background and a lot of experience in the industry, and being able to show them what we can offer, then they spread the word. So probably our last 6 to 8 hires have come to us. And, we're hoping to kind of build on that inertia. We do obviously post on boards, et cetera, but I would say, if you offer a really good environment and the word starts to get out, your best key to finding a new employee are the current employees that you have.
Referral sources, man. It's word of mouth beats just word. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's a great
exactly. Point. I mean, attraction is the best way to draw people in. I mean, it's going to be a discussion that businesses are going to have for the next couple of years on how to get people in. Another question. I know a little bit about you, Jack, and I know one of the things that's been said about you is you're fearless. And I guess you could see that by the fact that how many locations have you opened up in the 2021 and the 2020?
So I started at the first location with my dad. We opened our second location together, spent a few years kind of getting our stuff together. And right when I was prepared to grow and I had bought out my dad, the pandemic happened. So I decided, people are still going to need to fix their cars. Let's push.
Right.
Maybe if anything, we'll get better opportunities in this climate. And we've opened 2 locations, actually back to back, 2 days apart in April. And we'll be opening our 5th location September 30th. That's going to be in Upper Chichester.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those locations came in the middle of the pandemic, but I tried my best to overcome my fear on that, and it's turned out to be a good decision. It seems like a lot of people are holding on to their cars, and the 2 markets that we went into have plenty of business, so we've been really fortunate to get into those areas.
Yeah, I don't think people have much choice right now other than to hold on to their cars. I mean, with the inventories and the surplus chain and everything, it's been pretty brutal.
And even think about it this way, and maybe it has nothing to do with it, but just from kind of an outsider in the car industry, I'd imagine there's a lot less people flying right now with like the worry of the pandemic. So more people are driving, which means there's going to be more issues with cars. So I imagine that would probably help your business as well. But so Jack, the little I know about you from when we played golf together, you have an entrepreneurial side to you. And you were explaining to me, and again, if you can't divulge too much in this, that's fine. But you were talking to me about a crab business that you helped invest in a little bit. Can you share with everyone, A, kind of what that is, and B, the worker himself who you were talking about, what makes him so great?
So actually, I have a Zoom right after this. He's moving to Africa, no flight home right now on Monday.
One-way ticket.
Yeah, one-way ticket. So he's going to go immerse himself in the culture. He has some connections out there. He actually almost flips his schedule and works through the night and then has to sleep a little bit in the day so he can communicate with people internationally. But he and I were fishing buddies, and we were stuck on a boat and cruising out, and I was listening to everything he had to say, and I was impressed by it and interested. So we decided to take a dive into that. It's been about a year to get trademarks and everything. We trademarked the name honey crab, which is a cluster. It's cooked on board when it's caught. And it'll come like snow crab legs or king crab legs. And it's kind of a cross between a Dungeness and a snow crab, super sweet meat. And it interests me. I'm a water guy. I love to be by the ocean. And when I heard an opportunity to get involved in something that I love crab, I love the ocean, and my partner, I trust him big time. I wanted to see, where we could take this thing, and we have more orders than we have quota right now, which is a great problem to have.
Great problem.
Yeah. So we're excited about it. We're kind of on the precipice of what's going to happen next. We got to solidify some relationships internationally. Once that happens, if we can get our hands on some quota, you should be seeing honey crab in stores near you.
Now, can you confirm he's moving to Africa for the business, correct?
100%.
You want to talk about an employee who's all in.
He's all in, and he was the brainchild. This was his idea. He came up with the name. I just merely heard it and loved the idea. And he said, in 5 years, I want to start this business. And after I was done listening to him, I thought about it for a few days and reached out, and I said, how do you feel about starting this thing now? I would love to partner up with you and see where we can go with it. And between my clerical and marketing efforts with our marketing director, Leah, we were able to kind of make his vision come alive. And, without him, it wouldn't exist. I'm fortunate to have met him, and I'm excited to see where this is going to go, because it seems like we got a pretty cool product rolling.
Well, I'll definitely get my hands on some of that honey crab when I see it in stores. It sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
I'll ground ship it to you, whatever it's called. I can on dry ice. You guys can demo it out, eat it on the podcast.
That would be great. We'll do it for sure.
All right.
So, as far as the automotive industry, I mean, there's a lot changing. What's your forecast for 5 years from now? What's the outlook?
Well, I feel like in business, you always have to be ready to pivot, but with negatives come a silver lining. Originally the pandemic was an awful, well, it still is an awful thing, of course, not trying to be insensitive here, but with all the negatives that came from the pandemic, we're going to get another 5 to 10 years of people holding on to cars. And I think that that's actually going to work in the favor of the automotive industry. The key is to just stay in front of the technology. We're super technology oriented here. Every technician has a tablet. We take video, images, pictures of everything that we communicate to the customer. So being involved in the EVs, you know, all the Teslas, we have a contract with Tesla. They bring all their stuff to us and we get to pretty much touch.
Oh, wow.
New. If you can be on the front and people can trust that you have the equipment to handle those cars, I feel like we have plenty of longevity in the industry.
Well, that's great. And by the way, I got to tell you that my friend Andy here is a motivational speaker, and his message is dream big and pivot bigger. So that's right in line with what you're talking about.
Got to be able to pivot, brother.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, kind of on the lines of what you were just talking about and being able to pivot. You might not have an answer for this, but I got to ask, what do you think is next? You're talking about 5-10 years. What do you think is the next thing that a company like yourself has to get into to stay ahead of the game and at the minimum stay relevant in the game? Is there anything that stands out like this is coming? We need to be
this
ahead
is
of the curve.
Big question for me because myself and a partner of mine and a couple other industry friends are always talking about this stuff. And 2 years ago, it would have been much different, but I have my reservations about the electric vehicle industry only because I don't know what we're going to do with the batteries when they're
exactly.
That's going to ultimately pose a problem. I know that when they were having the power issues in California, less than 1% of their population drive electric vehicles. And they actually had to require those vehicle owners to not charge them because the power grid couldn't support it. So I think there's an uphill battle with the electric stuff. I know we're really trying to make a move for the environment, but I can't, my personal opinion is I'm not sure in the long term if it's going to be a big help and if it's going to be a foolproof solution. So we got to be ready for whatever that is. But I think the most important thing is if you're willing to invest in technology and you're willing to understand there's a lot of outlets now and people can communicate about what you do. So you need to provide excellent customer service and you need to respond to reviews. You need to be active online. You need to communicate to your local communities. Business has gotten bigger, but the focus on being personal with business has become more important than ever. So
I love that.
To have a marketing director that is tremendously helpful with that, but engagement, involvement, being responsive online, that's going to be the future of what we're doing here.
Being responsive, that's huge. And it's something that's missing right now.
Yeah. And it's gotten hard because there's so many review boards. There's so many people can communicate. So to manage that is a job within itself. But if you take the time to do that, I believe it's going to be the future of what we do is education.
And it's just another version of customer service. It just needs to happen. I mean, customer service is key to any business.
For sure.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So where are we, Andy? Are we about ready for some halftime?
You know this podcast well enough.
We can have some fun. I mean, careful with the glennuendos, but we'll get through this.
All right, Jack. So this is halftime, and we explained it a little bit to you before we got on the air, but we're going to just peel back the curtain on Jack Crowley. We're not going to talk business here. We're not going to talk leadership. We're going to just get some fun, interesting 10-question things for you. And you can be as short or as long as you want with these. If you only have a one-word answer, we can move on. If you have an explanation, we can go. But we call it a little speed round, a little lightning round. About 3-4 minutes we'll spend at halftime, then we'll move on to the second half. So you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's kick it off. What's your favorite movie?
The Sandlot.
That's a great movie. I wasn't expecting that. See, you're in my age bracket. You're in my age bracket, so you're speaking my childhood right now, man. Here's your remember, Legends Never Die.
I was thinking Field of Dreams after just seeing that the Yankees and the Sox play.
That was great. That was great. All right.
Gotta go.
Do you have so you're in the car industry. Do you have a dream car?
Right now I don't. There's so much stuff that comes out every year that kind of shakes me either way. For some reason, I was thinking about a Cybertruck, and now I've almost turned myself against that. I thought it was pretty cool, but I'm going to
pivot. Let's stick in the car. What was your very first car you ever known? You had the title.
It was a Chevy Blazer, 99.
98.
Oh, I love that.
It was the best.
It was the best.
What color was yours? I had the gold one.
Yeah, mine was like a weird green color. It was the incredible.
I can picture it because I feel like they only made about 4 colors of the Blazer.
Right.
Gold, or red. That green color I can picture, and I want to say that they had like a black, but it got dirty so fast it was almost off black.
Yeah. Bad paint, almost gray.
Yep. All right. Favorite band or musician?
Favorite band. Well, I would honestly say Michael Jackson is my favorite musician.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a lot of hits.
Yes.
Let's go with all right. I think I know this. What is something favorite hobby? Let's do that. Favorite
hobby. I'm addicted to fishing. So
I knew it.
If there is an opportunity to fish, I will seize that opportunity. And if I'm not fishing, I'm thinking about where those fish are and what they're eating and what they're doing. So it's pretty much an addiction at this point.
All right. If you could invest in one company in the world that you think is going to rise in the stock market over the next 10 years, you can invest $10,000 of somebody else's money. So you can take a little risk here if you want. What company do you think is the one to go with? Is it something that's already set in standard and you know is going to be good? Or is there something kind of out there that no one's thinking about?
I think that there's going to be a company that's going to have to dispose of these batteries. So to keep it on cue with the auto repair industry, I think we need to look ahead and find who's going to be the person responsible for repurposing or disposing of those batteries. And I think that company is going to be worth a heck of a lot of money.
You need to find someone who has the passion for batteries that your buddy had for the passion for crabs. You need to find that person.
Yeah, I got to find that guy.
You can call it Honey Batteries if you want.
Yeah.
All right. So we've golfed with you. We know you can shoot lights out. I want to know, what is the best round of 18 you've ever shot in your life?
76.
Do you remember the course?
It was White Manor Country Club.
And how old were you?
I think I was probably 18.
76
Wow.
and 18.
I was better when I was younger.
Yeah, right. Life gets in the way.
Yeah.
That's true. You're a little bit busy now, huh?
And
A
fishing.
little less golf is getting played, but sometimes I don't get in my head when I don't play that often. So
True. That's true. All right. Favorite sports team? Favorite sports team?
Philadelphia Eagles for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to follow that right up with who's your favorite bird of all time?
Man, I love them all so much. Let's go with Donovan McNabb.
Classy. Keep
All
it
right.
there. I like it.
Yeah,
Why not?
Number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I don't think
As a
there's.
kid, I eat, sleep, and breathe Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, man. He was your era for sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's a quarterback, and I'm from Michigan, so I wasn't even. I don't think there's a quarterback that had such a good career that gets such a bad rap.
Right.
Like Donovan McNabb. Now he doesn't help it with
Tough being from
how he
Philly.
talks and like about twice a year in the radio, he'll say something stupid that makes everyone like attack him a little bit. But when you talk about the actual player himself, the guy could play. The guy won a lot of games.
Yeah, won a lot of games. I think at his heyday, he was a tremendous leader. Obviously, there's thoughts around that, but I grew up watching him, and I love the way he commanded his offense when he was doing his thing. There's two different windows you can look at.
Right. It was an era of winning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
what.
love him.
So you're an avid fisherman.
Oh yeah.
Deep sea.
Yeah. Pretty much anywhere. I mean, if there's fish in a puddle, I'll fish it. But
What's the longest amount of time on a fishing trip you've ever spent in a boat?
probably 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, probably 3 days, like a double overnighter type deal.
And what were you fishing for during those 3 days? Did you switch it up or pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, we started out, trolling an evening bite for big eye tuna. No luck there. We deep drop for swordfish overnight. Next morning, we put the troll spread out for the yellowfins and fish them all day. And in the afternoon, we tried again for the sword. Again, unsuccessful that. And then we wrapped it up with some tile fish, some mahi-mahi. So There's
Okay.
a lot of moving around. Speaking of pivoting, if the tune is you can't go home empty-handed,
No.
That's right.
The
Wait, you
long
spent all
route.
this money on what? All right. And last question. Jack Crowley, you are wrongly convicted of a crime that puts you on death row. What is your death row meal? Your last meal of your life? What would it be?
I think I'm gonna go with a bone-in filet mignon from Del Frisco's and a side of honey crab.
There you go.
Look at that.
A little
Put it
promotion
in there. And I do love this. I like when people. So that's a question. I'm a foodie. So is Glenn. I like when people are specific. I like that you said exactly where you want it from.
Oh, yeah,
I don't like the generic. Just like, oh, I think I go with a steak. No. I want to know where, because we all know our favorite steak.
And this podcast is
presented by Honey Crab.
Honey Crab and Del Frisco's. Send us the check.
Yeah. All right, Jack. Well, we appreciate that. That was a good halftime. We're going to move it on. I'm going to kick this off real quick. I want to talk to you a little bit. So you're about my age. You're a little bit younger, but you're clearly in a leadership role. Is it tough for you to lead being young, especially when you first started in a leadership role? Did you ever feel to yourself, especially if you're having to lead guys who've been in the industry even longer or guys who are older, did you find it tough for them to kind of look at you with the respect that you deserved?
Early on, of course, there's a constant power struggle of wanting to be something that you're actually not yet. And then I feel like you reach a point where you let your actions dictate, and then you're not really worried about what people think as much. You're just kind of doing your thing and you get in your own zone. And then once you're consistent for a period of time and your people respect you and it kind of becomes second nature, then I don't think I think about it anymore. It used to matter, but if you treat people great, it doesn't matter if they're 60, 50, 40. It's the organization that they're working for. They're not working for Jack. Without them, there's no C&J. So we just make it a team atmosphere. It's all about the company. So it's a lot easier to manage when everybody's doing for C&J, not for an individual.
I love that.
Right. Now, there's a common theme that we have on our podcast, because I think it's super important, is mentorship. Do you have a mentor? And if so, what's the most important thing that you've garnered from that mentorship?
Absolutely. I think that was the changing point in my career was, I grew up with my dad teaching me everything, and he was my mentor. And he kind of told me at some point, hey, if you want to do something bigger or crazier, you got to go find somebody that knows, I reached out to a friend and also Westchester alumni, Matt Jessen, who has an incredible company. It's Green Pest Solutions and Green Lawn Fertilizing. And he's built an incredible business. I had just a few meetings with him. I would consider him a mentor, but it was a shorter period of time. And he recommended that I find an industry. So I started looking around to find an auto repair guy that was doing what I wasn't. Fortunate enough to meet a gentleman named Troy Kaplan, who owns TGK Automotive in the Midwest. I got his information from our marketing group, flew out there, spent a week with him, watched what he did, and I was enamored by it. That was 4 years ago. And we've been in touch ever since. At this point, we have businesses together, and he's taught me a lot of what I know and what we've done as a company. And I travel there, he travels here. I'm going there in 2 weeks to fish the Canadian border for walleye. And then we're going to go, play some golf with a bunch of his bankers. And he's an awesome guy. He does a great job. And without learning from him, I don't think we would have been able to grow at this rate. And mentors are the key.
Agreed.
Absolutely. You say Midwest. What state?
Minnesota.
Okay. Oh, there's.
I believe he's going on to 19 locations in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
Location opening up in Arizona. And the guy, he's impressive. He never seems stressed and handles an incredible organization. And he's got the same thing. Family members working for him, owner operators, that's a large piece of what we did. It took guys that have been technicians here for years that wanted to own a business, found a location, bought the location, they bought in, and now they have ownership of their own C&J. I learned that from my partner. You can rising tide lifts all boats, a little fishing lingo for you.
I love it. That's fantastic. It makes a huge difference when somebody has skin in the game, as they say,
Absolutely. And it's awesome to see those people that have worked so hard and done so much for you be able to reap the benefits of ownership and to see the shift, from working in the shop to having to work on the business. It's been awesome. So I'm very fortunate.
Great. All right, Glenn, I think it's time. We've only done this once on our show. I think it's time we bring back word waterfall. So basically what this is, Jack, when I was in college, we used to play a game called Waterfall. And one of the ones was you name a category. So types of cheese. And if there's like 80 of you sitting in a circle, you have to go around and you have about a split second to name a different kind of cheese. The first person either fumble and can't get it out of their mouth or repeat one takes a drink. So we'll do virtual drinks here. The category here is going to be leadership traits. Okay. I'm going to start. Glenn's going to be next. You'll be third. So basically, we're all going to say a one-word leadership trait. And we'll just keep going around until somebody can't think of one or until somebody repeats.
Can I have an example of what you mean?
Leadership. So for me, communication.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay. That's how I would start. I would start with, we'll go a little bit slower for the first 2 rounds, but then we're going to pick it up. So I'm going to go communication, Glenn.
You got to go slow for me because my brain's old. So I'll go with that. So you're going with communication. All right. I'm going to go with listening.
Compassion.
Hardworking.
Empathy.
Respect.
I'm drinking already.
This
we gotta do one more round.
Don't go chasing waterfalls there, buddy.
As you can see, it was a little more fun. All right, we're gonna do it one more time. This time, let's do. Glenn, you got anyone got a word? Either you have a word you want to do. Success.
Success, yes.
Success.
I love it. So what does success look like?
Yep.
Okay. What success looks like is
start off, Glenn.
Happiness.
Long term.
Family.
Podcast. I'm having fun. It's happiness for me.
Growth.
Oh, I like growth. That's a good one. I'm gonna go with passion.
Giving.
That was mine.
Love.
Fulfillment.
Vacation.
Obsession.
Security. I thought that one was gonna be a little bit shorter than the other one, but of course my brain went.
Yeah. Well, we know fishing is definitely happiness for Jack.
Exactly.
And draining long putts because you were pretty happy after that to end a scramble on a
18th
long
hole with about a 50-foot bomb down the hill.
Right. Yeah, you get a little dance on that
one on the green. So I had to putt Andy's ball. He was the only one on the green. So
I know, right?
The tough last hole.
Exactly. All right, Glenn, you get one more question real quick, and then we'll get to our Hail Mary.
All right, another question here. So, Jack, when you have employees, I think it's really important, and I've seen this theme in successful people, is they really listen to what their employees have to say. So good ideas come from anywhere. What's the best idea you've gotten from somebody that works for you or somebody in your organization?
I mean, every person here comes up with something great, and then we like to highlight that was them in our meeting. This person, I was just at Harpoon Brewery in Boston, and they have a really cool thing they do there where if an employee comes up with a thought, a policy, an idea, they actually hang it up on the wall, like a framed picture of them and what it is that they implemented into their business. So we're actually going to do that at our location. I thought it was a great idea, but you got to listen. And these guys are doing something different. Every person has a different role. If they have that role more effective or more efficient, it's my job to listen to that and, make it real. So yeah, many times we've done that.
Well, that's great. Whose idea was our family is, what's the tagline?
Our family puts your family first.
Yes, exactly.
So that was kind of something that I came up with my dad originally. So this is a slogan. We were sitting in the office trying to think of something that would quickly, in an elevator, tell people what we stand for. And I'm there with my mom. My sister's there. She's got her kids around, and we got another employee that's been a long time, and his kids happen to be there that day.
Oh, wow.
Family. So I'm thinking our family, put your family first. And my dad and I were kind of going through the verbiage to make it sound right. And we felt
right. I love it. That was a better answer than I was even anticipating. That's great, Jack.
And I love that you brought up the elevator, because one thing I've always thought of is if you can't sell yourself, your product, your business in an elevator, what makes you think you can sell it in an office? What I mean by that is you should be able to know enough about what you do to make yourself different with your company in the time it takes to get to the 5th floor as you could in an elevator. So if you can't do it, or as you could in an office. So if you can't get it done in 45 seconds, why do you think 45 minutes you're going to be any better at it?
And Lord knows how awkward an elevator can be.
Yeah, hopefully you never have to do that.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, Jack, this is our last question. And again, sticking with the theme, last question, we got to pull up the Hail Mary question here. It's our best play on the 50-yard line. It's we asked this one to everybody. Go back to about 21, 22-year-old Jack Crowley, knowing everything that you know now with your career, with business, with leadership. What advice would you give yourself?
I think the most important thing that I wish I would have known then is just to slow down. A lot of times you find yourself rushing and getting nowhere, just spinning your wheels. If you can dial back your speed a little bit, be more thought-provoked and present, you're going to get a lot more done, and you're not going to be rushing around when you're doing it. So I would just say, slow down. It'll all come, but you got to allow it to come. And if you force it, you get in your own way.
Slow down. You move too fast. You got to make that moment last.
That's it, baby.
That's right.
It's like being in quicksand. The faster you're trying to get out, the faster you sink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, well, that was a great answer, Jack.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this. Is so much fun. I could go on for another half an hour, but Jack, thank you for being on the podcast. And I'd like to give you like 30 seconds, tell our listeners about you and where they can find you and all that kind of fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me on. That was really fun. I actually felt like we were together. We got to go play golf again.
Exactly.
Again, so we're C&J Automotive. We have shop in Berwyn, Newtown Square, which also does retail fuel. So we have a gas station there. Lansdale, which is also a car wash, so we can clean them too. And then Hamilton, New Jersey, which is also a used car dealership. And then we'll be in Upper Chichester soon. And our plan is to grow and take other awesome C&J employees and give them a shot to own their own company. And, our goal is to get as big as possible. So,
Glenn, I think this could be our very first round 2 second appearance, because as soon as this honey crab is in stores, we gotta help you promote it. And I think the best way to help you promote it is to do it over a nice plate of the honey crab.
Right. We'll get into food groups on social media. I mean, the better we get at social media, the more exposure we get.
Once that hits the stores, let us know. We'll get round 2.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for listening. Please like and comment. And my name's Glenn Amaral.
I'm Andy Phillips.
Till next time, what's in your playbook?